You know, it's possible that cocaine, meth, marijuana, and all other banned drugs are so risky and harmful that we have to impose criminal penalties for their use and sale. Of course, we will never know for sure because we have never adopted actual measurable standards for harm and risk, and consequently, no studies were ever done before banning any drug. Due to the various problems caused by banning drugs, there is no way we can gather reliable data for harm and risk on any banned drug. It is a testament to the tawdry shamelessness of our news editors and pundits that such studies are routinely published and aired. Once a drug is banned, it is produced and sold by criminals. There is no disclosure to users, no quality control, no professional standards for labs or chemists producing these drugs, and no accountability. Just try taking your local dealer or his gang to court for damages. The drugs sold are tailored to the hardcore drug abusers. Those drugs would only fill a small niche in the legal drug market. The users are disproportionately younger, as sellers of legal drugs have huge incentives to restrict sales to adult users. These younger users are less educated. You get zero education in schools on real drug problems, just drug war propaganda depicting atypical adverse reactions as typical. And they are less skilled at managing their drug addictions. With these kinds of adverse conditions, I would expect far more serious problems from users than those reported in the studies. This shows that the need to protect users from themselves may be highly exaggerated. However, health concerns are not the main reason most people favor legalization of drugs, to restore regulatory standards to the distribution of these drugs. Did I mention that these drugs are distributed by criminals? Usually by organized criminal gangs, syndicates, or cartels? And the price of banned drugs is exorbitantly high enough to make pharmaceutical companies green with envy. This means exorbitant tax-free profits that bankroll their violent lifestyles and endanger those in the communities. It also leads to an equally well-armed and violent police response to their activities in those very same communities. In fact, police often work in alliance with drug syndicates to arrest and convict addicts and independent suppliers of these drugs. Police work as syndicate lackeys, and that doesn't include those police who actually take money to facilitate the syndicate's movement of drugs to users. It doesn't take a genius to surmise that drug prohibition always leads to major increases in crime. Users of methamphetamines, cocaine, heroin, and their derivatives rarely committed crimes before the police became involved in arresting users. If you support the current policy, or if you oppose meaningful reform leading to legally available drugs with regulated producers and distributors, you are, by definition, pro-crime and against the interests of crime victims and taxpayers. Furthermore, you are a big government advocate. It is a testament to the tawdry shamelessness of today's media editors and pundits that this is not common knowledge. One of the fastest growing industries, even in our economic collapse, is the prison industry. Even today, we have blatant pro-crime advocates advancing measures to lock more victims of their policies in prison, at taxpayer expense. Is it not enough to burden crime victims with their policies? Why must they, after being victimized by theft and violent crime, have their pockets picked to pay for mass incarceration scams that do little to reduce the crime caused by their own pro-crime policies? It is a tribute to the tawdry shamelessness of today's media that these people are known as anti-crime and crime victim advocates. And to think George Orwell really had no idea how ridiculous newspeak would become. We don't have problems with really dangerous drugs when their effects are widely known and proven using verifiable criteria. The problem is that those who sell legal drugs that fit that criteria have used subterfuge and bought influence to keep that knowledge from the consuming public. And that influence includes our national media outlets. It is a tribute to the tawdry shamelessness of our national news media and pundits that, despite the vast array of scientific studies about the harms of long-term use of cigarettes, that has been available for many decades. It has only been in the last decade that cigarette addiction in this country has been cut in half. We did this without the help of police to crack down on users and distributors. Needless to mention, we have many FDA-approved medications with similar problems. I find it amazing that it takes millions of dollars worth of litigation just to attract the attention of the media to highlight these type of problems. Yet, only the whiff of evidence that some people are partying with other drugs to get them banned. I have two questions. Does anybody really believe that our government has the consumer interest or the taxpayer interest at heart with its policies on drugs? Secondly, with these people, why don't they surface whenever I try to sell a used car?